Good morning, everybody! Coming new to Dungeons & Dragons Online with Update 62 is a full rebalance to weapons and their scaling. We're seeing full changes to weapons and attacks. So before you get nervous, I'm going to break this down for you and kind of explain what's going up, what's going down, and what is changing and how this is going to change. So to get started, we're going to talk with the W scalar revamp on weapons. There's a lot of words here, but the long story short is that now weapons will automatically give you an increase in damage as the level increases. So before, let's say a weapon was like level 20, a lot of epic weapons would give you a weapon damage increase called the W, which was right next to your weapon. So to give you like an actual example, here is my attuned bone weapon, and you can see the damage, and then it says 5.45, and then there's a bracket. That 5.45 is the W. That's like a multiplier on your weapon. So like this 3W here. So now that's going to change based on the weapon level. So for the general use case as you're leveling through the game, this is going to make weapons more powerful. As weapons that are now level 30 will be at 5W, weapons above level 30 will gain power. So for example, the Isle of Dread weapons will be 5.2, the Vecna weapons will be 5.4, and also during the leveling process, the weapons will be better. So if you made a Seranian weapons used to be 1.5. Now they're 2W, or the weapons from Vecna Unleashed in Epics, the heroic version, will now be 2.6W. So a lot of the weapons in the mid-ranges are going to be getting a boost, and it'll make it clearer and easier to understand what is better or what is worse. There are a couple exceptions where there are some damages going down, so just to make sure that's clear. Weapons that are level 10 will be at 1W. This means that the Ravenloft weapons, the Barovian ones, they used to give you 1.5W, so this will bring them down to 1. This is a very small decrease in damage, but it is a decrease in damage nonetheless. And this also means that a lot of weapons at the end game, like a lot of the older raid weapons, stuff like things from Defiler of the Just or from Babala Saga, so like your Ravenloft raids and things, they're a little bit older and their weapon damage is going to go down because they'll be minimum level 28 and 26 instead. So that is going to be a bit of a change. So the best way to put this, in general, your weapon damage is going to be going up. If you're just like an average player, if you're an endgame raider, some of your weapons might go down a little bit in damage, but the newer weapons are going to be going up in damage, so you're kind of incentivized to use some of the newer stuff, but your damage isn't going to go down, and we're going to talk about that here in a second when we go into the active attack rebalance. So the active attack rebalance is basically making it so that attacks that you do, so when your character has like a button that does an attack, so for example, Cleric, their first ability is called Smite Foe, and it's just an attack that used to give you +2 W. It's now going to change to give you a percentage damage boost based on what it did before. So, just to make it straightforward, the attack, it used to give you +2 W, which would give you 2 times the base damage of the weapon, and it's now going to give you 20% more damage. So, what does this mean exactly? It means that in the early game, this is going to possibly have like a slight reduction in your damage when you first get some of these attacks. By the early mid game, so by level 10 to 12-ish area, you're going to be getting about the same amount of damage, and as you level up higher, the damage will be going up much higher, because your character will actually be able to scale the damage on these attacks a lot better. Basically, this means that when you take an attack out of an enhancement tree, so something that sounds cool, say you're playing like a barbarian and you took the attack Slaughter used to give you 10W, which was pretty cool. But the problem is, your base damage on your weapon might not be as big as the actual added bonus. Two-handed weapons get to add double your strength bonus to their damage, so all of that strength wouldn't get calculated. Now, it's just double damage, and double damage is really good. So to give you a real-world example here, I have my character logged in. This is my War Priest that I'll be making a build video for soon. And this character has the Attuned Dinosaur Bone Longsword. So I have 1.8 plus 3 damage in the bracket here. That's like per W, that's how much damage you get. So with the old system, Smite Foe would add 2 Ws to this. So the W here is this damage times 2. The average of a D8 is 5.5 or 4.5. So we're going to take 4.5, we're going to add 3 to it, so that's 7.5. Times that by 2. 15 damage. So on average, you're going to get 15 extra damage when you press this button, Smite Foe. Now, with the changes, instead it's going to give me 20% bonus damage. Well, what is 20% bonus damage? Well, just to start, I'm plus 121 damage. It's just plus 121. So 20% of this is, what, 22? 24? Something like that? So with 24 damage, not even including the 5.5 times this amount of damage in here. Overall, this is a huge damage increase. This is going to be easily more than double the amount of damage this was adding to my attack before. That's massive. And bear in mind, my character's not fully spec'd out. There are people where this number is plus 150, plus 200. With the two-handed weapon character, power attack, all the extra damage from your weapon, with your weapon skill, actually playing a character that's a melee and not a cleric, this can get over 200 pretty easy. And you're going to see people getting way more damage from these attacks. So, at the end of the day, what does this mean for you? It means that, as I said, at the beginning, you might have in the early levels, it might be a tiny bit less damage, but very quickly this is going to ramp up. And especially if you have any amount of past lives, you're probably going to have more damage at the start anyway as well. But by around level 10, all these skills are doing the same damage, and then past level 10, way more damage. And they're actually going to scale. So to be super clear, this is attacks. So this doesn't affect passives. So what that means is if you have a button that you press to deal damage, then that's going to give you that percentage damage boost on your attack. So what I mean by that is the attacks that I have. So like Smite Foe, I press this button, it does 20% more damage. Divine Vessel, I press this button, it does 50% more damage. A passive effect that gives you W is not a button you press, so it's not going to give you a percentage increase. So for example, a Vorpal weapon increases this base damage here. So that's not going to give me a percentage increase in damage, it's just going to add some W into here. Or, for example, in the enhancement trees or the Epic Destiny trees, you might have an effect like in Legendary Dreadnought, where you have Combat Brute, which says while you have your mantle active, you gain +1 W. Again, this is not going to become 10% more damage because you don't press Combat Brute. It's a passive. It's just going to increase your damage. So attacks that you take, such as Dire Charge now. Dire Charge will give you 20% extra damage on the attack. Pretty good. Or attacks like Legendary Rally is going to do 50% more damage on the attack. It's an auto critical with a +2 critical multiplier. This button's insane. This is an insane button on the keyboard now. It was already pretty good. Now it's insanity. So, overall, that's very exciting, and both these changes are quite good for the video game. As I said, there's going to be a little bit of they have a FAQ where it's like, oh yeah, melee range power work, all this other stuff works. This only buffs the base damage of your attack. So for imbue builds and builds like myself, where the more the damage is in imbue, this does not affect your imbue. This is just the physical damage, just that first number. It's the front number. You got to think about it as the first number on the line. That's what you're going to be affecting with this one. So overall, the weapon scaler, generally better for the game, although it will make a couple weapons later game worse. So just keep that in mind. And then the W scaler, again, this is your base damage, so it's pretty good. Yeah, as it's saying here, it's multiplicative. This adds to the base damage. So if you use something again that has another percentage, such as like Hunt's End, which is an attack, or Adrenaline, which are both attacks that multiply your damage again, they will multiply together because this is multiplying the base as at the start, and then the other multipliers coming in afterwards, which is very, very cool. So you can get tremendous numbers. If you've never been able to hit somebody for 100,000 damage, you might be able to now. The last change that's coming with this, and I hope they adjust it, is there's a Sealed in Amber update. They did basically 3 things with this change. The first is they made it so there's less flame skulls, which is cool. So there's less flame skulls. I like it. The second is that it's now linear. So if you've ever been lost in Amber Temple, I'll put out an Amber Temple guide when this goes through how to do it. But it's now linear. All the passwords are in the same place. So you just find the passwords and then do your thing. And then 3, the part that I hate the most, even though I thought Amber Temple was fine, but the part that I hate is the fact that you have to watch the cutscene every time. So every time you want to finish the quest completes when you help Casimir find the Chamber of Zudun, and then he does the thing, he resurrects his sister, and then you talk to Strahd, and then he summons the guys. You have to do that every time. It's 3 minutes. So you do the whole quest, and then you gotta wait 3 minutes for your XP. I don't like it. I think the other changes are fine, but I really don't like this one. And that's what they're doing to Amber Temple, and that's all I got. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. I hope you're excited about some of these changes. This is going to make pretty much every weapon attack in the game good, and you're now going to want to think about when you want to take those attacks. Before it was, oh, does this attack give me +2 critical threat range and multiplier? If the answer is no, you don't want to press it. But now Smite Foe is good. It just adds 20% melee damage, and 20% melee damage is pretty good. So thank you for watching, have a good day, and smite some foes, catch you later, bye-bye, eat some vegetables, take out the trash, I gotta go.